Welcome to part two of my presentation there in Oakridge, Oregon. And I am M.K.Davis. Now, our previous video, part one, I ended it with an examination of the Paul Freeman footage, and I'll just kind of briefly go over that again before we make our way through to some of these other remarkable videos. Let's go. I think I made the comment on this particular still frame from it that look at the face. This is as the creature turns to look back at Paul Freeman. And you see the entire face is white. This is it. It's white on the sunny side, white on the shadow side. Sun is coming down from the upper right down onto the face. Now, as I explained before, I was trying to brighten up the background to see if there was any Bigfoot in the background, and then suddenly this happens. Take a look. Boom. A flash. Everything lights up. Everything's overexposed. Then when the camera settles back down and readjusts, the automatic system readjusts the exposure, watch the creature walk off right there. You wouldn't see this if I had not filtered these images and brightened them up, you know, the surface brightness, so I could see up inside these shadows in this area behind the creature. See the face? The face turns completely white just seconds before the entire image gets completely flooded with overexposure. Follow the face. See it turn around? That's the face right there. It happens, as far as I can tell, in the face first, and then the flash emanates everywhere. Watch the face. Follow the face. See it right there? Boom. Overexposure. And then it tick, 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 readjusts. After the flash is over, the camera reacts to it and then readjusts. One more time here. There's the face. Okay. There's the face. It'll sit still for me now. What's going on there? Certainly not something normal. And sometimes, we don't have an explanation. We eventually get one. But right now, we stick it under the subject of woo. That's what people use. That's popular. That when they see something they don't understand, maybe don't have everything we need to understand it, then it goes into that category. Sometimes temporarily, sometimes until. Now, there's some other stuff that's really odd that occurs in the Paul Freeman footage, because Paul Freeman, as unwise as it was to follow the Bigfoot, he does so. Now let me... All right. What you're looking at here is you're looking at the Bigfoot far away with its back turned straight toward the camera. And understand, this is one of those early, well, it's slowing down now, early edition home video cameras. It wasn't the Super Crisp 4Ks or even 5Ks now. So it had some not focusing, but resolution problems. Let's look at this again. There she is right there. I call it a she because I kind of get that hunch. But there you see her. She picks up a small one with her left arm, and the legs dangle right here. See the legs? There they are. I'm going to try to get a sharper one. There it is. You'll see the head pop up above her shoulder right there. This is her left arm. You can see the little fella or little guy, gal. Let's do it again. It was at this point that he said, "Oh, there's two of them." Watch this area right here. That's her shoulder, left shoulder. That's her head. She's picked this, the legs have been dangling, and you'll see the head come up above that shoulder. There's the little legs that are dangling right there. Head's right there. See both legs right there. You can hardly see that with unstabilized footage. When you stabilize it, it's a lot easier to see. Okay. That finishes the Paul Freeman. But in regard to the flash, the next question I had, are there other films that show a similar type of energy? An overexposure, perhaps, or a flare of some type, or anything that would indicate that there's been an expenditure of energy similar to what you see there in the Freeman footage. And there were some. So let's take a look. Okay, this was filmed in East Texas, and in the presence of a Bigfoot. They had cameras that ran all the time. They ran till the batteries went down, or they ran out of tape. And this was one of those cameras, and it's set in a place that was known for Bigfoot activity. And we'll just take a look. Watch the Bigfoot come out. There he goes. See the light flashing? At first you think, well, this light that's flashing is probably, something wrong with the camera. That was my thoughts until I got to looking close. See the lights flashing? Let's just do it again. There goes the Bigfoot. See the light flashing? There's definitely some kind of disturbance there. Let's go up here and look at it again. Then you look up here on this tree limb, you see this. Now this is an oscillating file, so it shows it over and over, but let's look at it again. You see that when it flashes, you see a flash that lights up the tree line back here. Take a look. Now this is just a single flash, but it may be more than one, but it's not over and over like that. I made the video do that so that I could take a kind of a close look at all this flashing along the tree line. It looks like similar to me to a welder's arc, that like somebody's got intense light that reflects off the trees. Also, I noticed that see what this is. It's not round like you would say it was an orb or something like that. It's kind of oblong shaped with a second bulge on top. Just watch it. There it is. And when that appears, the light appears to reflect off the tree line across the way over there. I made a mental note of this odd shape. Went looking amongst my stuff to see if I could find other examples of that, and I did. But just remember what you're looking at here, and when we get over there, you'll see what I mean. Here, the orb fast. That's oscillating back and forth so that it flashes rapidly. You get a better look. Okay, this is without, just a picture without the orb. That's what that is. Orb slow. There it is. It's an intense, kind of a focused light. It's very bright, enough to make it show up, on the trees. And this is just a still with the orb showing. All right. Now let's move on. I went to an Indian mound. Actually, it was an Indian village or Indian site, and it had 22 mounds there at one time. And somebody had built a house on this Indian mound, and the house had fallen into disrepair. It probably, if I was a betting man, they probably had some incidences up there. You always hear about it. Imagine, living on top of the mound. But here it is. I took 2 pictures. They were about maybe a couple of seconds at the most apart from one another. It no longer has the house on it. It actually caught fire and burned. This is it right here. I went inside. There was a big a ball of grass in this room right here. Somebody had made, or something had made into a mattress, a bed to lay down on. Watch up in these trees. So I'm going to switch over to my second photo that I took only like a couple of seconds later. See up in that tree? And this is not a lens flare. It's basically shaped like that other orb in East Texas, except that it's tilted over. It's got kind of like a gold foil look. I don't know what this is, but it was in the trees. I didn't see it until I, got home. I didn't see it out there. I didn't pay attention. I was looking at the house. But I'm learning to pay attention. Like I said, this house caught fire and burned. And no electricity hooked up to it. The bigger mound is just out of view to my left there. It's huge. The Peabody Museum actually came out in the late 50s, early 60s, and excavated out here. Did a really good job and did an assessment of who it was living there and how many. There's quite a bit to the mound. There's a moat around the system. They uncovered quite a few human remains. They didn't take them out. They just exposed them, photographed them, and then covered them back up. They also found a lot of dogs, canines, buried with them. But that's not what we're here for. We're here because of that flash, or whatever it is, that seems to be strange and deserve to be in the category with so many other things that they call just woo. Don't know what it is. Now, let's get to the Patterson film. Is there a flash on the Patterson film? The answer is yes. This is in that last portion of the film where Patty, or whatever her name is walking away. And some people said, well, when I first found this, some people said, well, that's nothing but a piece of film missing. But Kodak said, no, that's not what that is, because it's on 2 frames. And it grows in between. Watch it get bigger as you pass to the next frame. Kodak said it was actually some source of intense light. Somebody else had a copy of the film. They said, I only have 1 frame. All I can say is I'm sorry. I don't know why. The copy I was working with had 2. There again, intense light. What it is? Don't know. Don't know what it is. We can speculate We have things that we build for ourselves that makes light, intense light. The old-fashioned cameras used to, that had a burning flash. It melted the bulbs. It would make a bright light. A flare from a weapon, a firearm, would make a bright light if you caught it right. Then there's the unexplained, where this bright light could have come from just a source, a radiant source. Don't ever write woo off. You may categorize it, but don't write it off, because just because you don't have an understanding does not mean it's not there. Okay, that's the Patterson film. Now, let me go back over here. We'll discuss photographs. This is a photograph of a Bigfoot track on hard pavement. And when I say, I'm not talking about the picture that I took that you're looking at, but I'm talking about the photograph is on the hard pavement. It's sometimes you don't have film and you don't have a camera, but the photograph is still taken by other means, and this means is a sprinkling of light rain, and it stepped out onto the hard pavement, and the heat from the foot bottom evaporated or soaked up that water, and when it stepped off, it was a photograph of the bottom of the foot on that pavement. There's no depth to it or anything like that. It's just two-dimensional. I found this one and another one at another time at the same spot. And I'll show you the other one. This was in light snow, and it stepped there, melted the snow, and when it stepped away, a lighter coating of snow came down over it, but it outlined the foot, and that's a photograph of the foot bottom. Even though there's no film, no camera, you could see what the foot bottom looked like. Now this was a crossing or something, because it was at the same spot in the road as that other. No, nothing was seen like a Bigfoot, but maybe where one had gone. Then we all leave traces of where we've been. Now, is there other ways to take a photograph? Let's look at this. This is Shroud of Turin, very famous religious. It's a photograph's what it is, for lack of a better word. An individual was wrapped in cloth, and when they took the cloth off, his image was on the cloth through some form of energy, radiant energy, whether it was light or whether it was radioactivity or something, had burned the image into the cloth. And a lot of people think this is the image of Jesus, or it's an image of someone who had suffered a crucifixion, similar to what the Romans did to people back then. Now, later on, this this shroud was in a fire. The whole place burned up, but they rescued it. They got it out before it completely burned, and that's what left these dark streaks. But that wasn't on the original shroud. But what's really odd about this is that it left an image in 3 dimensions, which is still got people scratching their heads. Experts, how did it record this man in 3 dimensions? Now let's go transfer this over to some Bigfoot evidence. This is, once again, this is East Texas. This around somewhere between the year 2000 and 2004. They were leaving a camera running all the time. The researchers were in different places. And when I went back up there in 2012, I met with the lady that owned the place. The man had passed away, and one of the researchers came and met with me. And I had that's my camera that took the picture, but that's me right there. And I got out there and let the researcher take the picture so that I could compare with some of the Bigfoot footage that they had. Try to determine size. And normally, back in that day, this gate stayed shut. If they had anything in the little barnyard. But you might remember what they call the fence climber. This is the setting for the fence climber right here. And you can see that there was a fence right over here that he ran down beside. And they had a garden out here at the time. But if you look carefully, you'll see there's some markings on this tree. Now, let's take a look, because remember, a photograph can be anything. It doesn't have to be film. And it just has to have an energy source and then a medium to be burned into. There's 2 separate images on this tree. They both appear to be faces. This has a little bit of one shoulder. Now, like I said, that's in 2012. Now let me go over to this filtered image. You see how much better that is. They're 3-dimensional images burned onto that tree. That, my friend, is woo. Are these the facial images of a Bigfoot or a highly strange person? I don't know. It's like the Shroud of Turin. We weren't taking pictures of that tree. He was taking a picture of me. We didn't even notice it at the time. See, that's That's what we saw. It just didn't grab our attention. But photography picked it up. I got one more thing I want to look at. Let me go back over here. All right. Now, what we're going to look at here is what I call Tall Paul. These guys had learned that you could film into a mirror, and you would get Bigfoot activity behind the camera. The Bigfoot didn't had an aversion to getting out in front of the camera. They either understood what it was or suspected what it was. So they began to film into a mirror and to get things like that. This is that same scene. The same scene, same barnyard, years earlier. Over here on the right in here, that's what I call Tall Paul. Now, they put these buckets out there to put confections in them, candy bars, things like that. But this one is out of service. It's upside down. Appears to be. Look up here. Now, Tall Paul is. Let me see if I can find a little sharper one. That's not good. Not one of them. Tall Paul comparison animation. Let's look at that. And that's the picture I'm in. I just showed you. I'm comparing myself to Tall Paul here. There's that same tree over here. Now, what I think is an outstanding thing that may take Tall Paul into the category of woo is that he appears to shimmer. And I've heard an awful lot about that. This is 720. Let's look at that. You see parts of him disappear and parts of him appear as he's walking across. And then he finally ends up as an entire entity. You can see the whole thing. Now, I think I've got some better ones than that. Prior to Tall Paul appearing, there were two others that were fighting. You can see them over here in this far right over here in front of this barn. They're pushing and shoving each other, and then Tall Paul appears. Now, I'm still looking for that one that shows it best. That's a comparison. Watch him shimmer. You see a little bits of the leg will disappear, the upper torso will disappear, and as when he finally makes it across there, everything comes together. See, the head's missing here. It's kind of, the body is offset. See, the legs kind of shimmer. Now this is the days before they had a lot you could, do with video like you can now. This was way back. You see the entire, from the shoulders up, suddenly appear. Watch it. I would say that there's something there that's not understood. I stood in that spot and I would have to look straight up at him. Now understand, this is in a mirror. So this was a mirror reversed, and I turned around and reversed it so that it would appear as it was in real life, with the red barn on the left side and the garden on the left side. Look at that. Watch it here. I'm going to go to the end. See how short that is right there? Now watch. He goes all the way up to here. And he hasn't taken but about 3 good steps. Watch him suddenly get tall. Tall Paul. There's Tall Paul in his full height. There he is with the upper part shimmering. Okay. That's about it for part 2 of my presentation. Some of these topics didn't make it into the presentation due to time constraints, and you can get them all here. And we won't say too much about Woo, except that it's a convenient place to put things that you don't really understand what you're looking at. Let's see here. I want to end it with an image. There we go. Yeah, there I am. Now, you can't say I didn't do my part. I went there. I saw nothing but strangeness. And I actually saw this, but I didn't register with me. Photographs without film or camera on that tree. And then a camera took a picture of that. Three-dimensional. All right. Well, there you have it. And so, next time you run into something strange, when you're looking for Bigfoot or cryptids, it's been done before. There's lots of strangeness, not always explainable. Put it in the woo category, hopefully just temporary. And I thank you for your time.